Pathankot attack and what it means about India's counter-terrorism capacity and its implications on India's peace initiative with Pakistan. We are now joined in the studios by Lieutenant General retired S.A. Hasnain and Rahul Jalali, senior journalist. I welcome you both to Newsnight. I'll begin with you, General Hasnain, on what this means as far as India's counter-terrorism capacity is concerned.
Well, firstly, I must say that there is a lot of doubt being cast about our counter-terrorism capabilities. I must emphasize that for every unsuccessful operation, should you put it this way, that for every time an operation by the terrorists is successful, there would be at least 20 such which are not successful. And the intelligence agencies must be given the benefit of the fact that they have prevented such acts. The negative part is that a 21st act will go ahead and the terrorists would be successful in infiltrating and doing this. Now, that's exactly what has happened in this case. Now, people are talking about the failure of intelligence and the inability of coordination.
There was no failure of intelligence. There was advance information. Well, it was passed on to security agencies.
Yes. While being positive about what the intelligence agencies have achieved in the past, we must, of course, admit the fact that a similar incident, not exactly in the airbase, but at Gurdaspur, took place on 26th of July. And it was generally, we could assess that the future of these kind of operations would take place in North Punjab. Because the ground and the terrain there with the boundaries of Himachal Pradesh, Punjab together meeting there with Jammu and Kashmir forms an excellent kind of a ground to conduct these kind of operations. Besides that, there are 4 major military garrisons in this area. And the Pathankot Air Base itself offers a strategic target to the terrorists. So they did it. And we should have been able to anticipate it. Notwithstanding that, there were intelligence inputs, I was told actionable intelligence inputs, and we couldn't get our act together. It happens. There is no doubt in these kind of operations, it happens. But the fact that there could not be too much of coordination, that's a little worrisome. I would recommend very strongly that the model that we have been able to establish in Jammu and Kashmir, which over 25 years of experience, we had similar models in Punjab earlier, if you remember, in the 80s. But I think we have lost out on that somewhere.
And which is that model?
The model of coordination and cooperation and singular agency being responsible for something.
A single command structure.
That's right, a single command structure for it. Now, in this case, you know that the area around Pathankot has got a very large military presence. A lot of army is there. There are senior military officers who are present there. Possibly this whole operation could have been coordinated by a single commander and a single headquarter.
Okay. Now, Mr. Jalali, do you expect this terror attack to have an impact on the peace process between the two countries? The peace initiative has already been rolled out.
Well, I think let's look at the peace process separately from the talks which are scheduled there. I think the talks should go on. Whether peace process continues or not would depend on the forthcoming talks, because the issue which will be central to these talks is going to be the terror attack.
Okay, but do you expect the foreign secretaries to still meet on the 14th and 15th of this month?
Well, that is something which is a decision which the government has to take. I mean, but I think they should not shy away from this meeting, because our case when it comes to terrorism in the wake of what's happening in Pathankot, what happened in Mazar Sharif, becomes extremely strong. So you can catch Pakistan on the wrong foot, and the entire focus on whatever talks
For that, the agenda of the talks would have to be tweaked, because if primacy has to be given to terrorism, because terrorism is not part of those 11 points in the comprehensive dialogue mechanism. Yes.
No, terrorism is very much a part of
terrorism has to be discussed between the NSAs, and
yeah, that's
we will not be meeting
but the fact is, fact is that, you know, even this issue can be raised at every level. You know, it's not a question that foreign secretaries cannot discuss this.
So there should be primacy on the issue of terrorism when the two foreign secretaries meet. Are you saying that?
Mazar Sharif is an incident which, you know, where the foreign secretary can get involved on terror. So certainly what you say is correct. The NSAs have to meet on terror and have a plan if this peace dialogue is going to continue, which I think it should, because suspending dialogue has not paid us any dividends. I think central to the dialogue is becoming a question of terror.
And also options are very few when it comes to the Indo-Pak relationship.
Also, secondly, it's an initiative taken by the Prime Minister. I think it should not be given up without even trying. And I think it is essential that this issue is taken up, the talks go on, and terror becomes central to the talk. Okay. Secondly, I think there should be a template when the NSGs meet, and I hope that happens very soon, that there should be a template provided about what would be Pakistan's response to terror, terror which is spread from there.
Because we've given dossiers so very often.
But this time there has to be a definite commitment.
So we need to tell
Pakistan.
them that this is what we expect out of you.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
if I can put the same thing in a slightly different way, the expectation from this process is that both the countries should at the earliest secure their flanks. The meaning of that essentially is that this process is going to be fired upon from different directions as we go along. And these contingencies are going to arise. The NSAs must meet early and ensure that they have a contingency planning of what kind of a response from a diplomatic side, from a political side, what kind of a response will both the countries give? What we are seeing from the Pakistani side is a muted response at the moment. Negative, no admission, nothing. This is not conducive.
They have only condemned the attack. That's the statement from the foreign ministry of Pakistan.
If you see the social media, it is all negative. Civil society, from whom we expect so much, is all negative. Now, this is the kind of thing we should ensure, that the two NSAs meet and they must secure this dialogue. It's the initiative of the Prime Minister and we must ensure that it goes through.
Okay, so you are both on the same page on that.
I think even the Foreign Secretary plays a major role there in securing the dialogue. After all, it's going to be a diplomatic answer to all the dossiers we have given.
Okay.
I think we need to raise this question.
General Hasnain, is there any doubt that this attack has the imprint of the Pakistani army and the ISI?
Not at all. The major factor in this is the fact that they could infiltrate from Pakistani territory with the kind of equipment and wherewithal with which they have come. Heavily armed, GPSs, lots of grenades.
Very well trained. How could they be so very well trained had they not been trained by the Pakistani military and the paramilitary forces?
Most of them are well trained, there's no doubt. But to conduct an independent operations, independent of the Pakistan Army or the ISI, and penetrate through all that which is existing on the border on the other side.
This has to have the blessings of the Pakistani state.
Possible.
Okay.
And all these efforts of trying to put this on the United Jihad Council, etc., is all a diversion to take this out and show it as if it's a homegrown kind of a terror attack by the Kashmiris here.
So what are the options on the table before us, Mr. Jalali? And do you agree with General Hasnain when he says this indeed has the imprint of the Pakistani deep state?
Oh, certainly. I mean, otherwise, as General Hasnain has said, how can you have this level of training if the army is not involved? How can you get so much of equipment into India? You know, the armory which this terrorist group has, if the army is not involved. Definitely, there is no two issues about it. But the fact remains that there is a Prime Minister in Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, who has extended his hand. So is there a difference between the military establishment in Pakistan and the political establishment? If there is, then we need to do something about it.
Was Pak Army ever on board as far as the Lahore stopover of the Prime Minister is concerned? Was the Pakistani Army on board? Because the NSA of Pakistan was not present, even though the Foreign Secretary of Pakistan was present when the two Prime Ministers met at Lahore. So that raised questions about whether the Pakistani military is on board.
That's a major indication of what we are hinting at. I don't think army is completely...
There are clearly differences.
Yes, I mean, the army is not completely on board. Secondly, look at the manner in which there is this report coming, also using Jaish. Jaish was virtually dead as an organization. All operations in Jammu Kashmir in the last
Jaish has been a client of the ISI over years, isn't it?
It is totally a client of the ISI. I mean, ISI played a major role during the release of Masood Azhar. He was taken to Pakistan, and Jaish-e-Mohammed was formed with Army ISI playing a major role in that. So suddenly, but over years, Jaish had been given a backseat. It was Lashkar-e-Taiba which was the favorite. Suddenly to revive Jaish, is an interesting question. You've not heard of Jaish operations till let's say the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
Suddenly that's been revived. It is totally, Jaish is totally an instrument of Pakistani ISI. So there are no two doubts about it.
All right.
So all these things point to the picture, and then this stupid attempt, I'll call it stupid, to get Jihad Council to own responsibility. It does not make sense.
It's a diversionary tactic.
Basically, and I don't think we should go by it.
All right. Thank you so much, General Hasnain and Rahul Jalali, for joining us on Newsnight tonight.